This is PamelaTopjian, and obviously I'm not in my usual spot. Um, I am pet sitting and house sitting, which is something I do most of the time. Anyway, so not in my regular spot, not with my regular background, but today we're talking about quotes. What are some of my favorite quotes and what they mean to me? So if you clicked on this, I think you are probably somebody who enjoys quotes. Maybe you have some of your favorite quotes, and maybe some of your favorite quotes are some of my favorite quotes. So that'll be interesting to see too. And what's really interesting to me about quotes is they can mean different things to different people. They can be so profound and so deep in some of the simplest words. They can also mean different things to the same person at different times in your life. So I think that's really, really interesting. Let's get into it. So one of my favorite quotes is, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there." And that's a Rumi quote. So to me, that means, very much like balance, very much non-judgmental, taking away from any judgments, taking away any grudges, taking away any differences, and meeting somebody without those things. Meeting in the middle. It's like the Buddhist idea of the middle way. So, yeah, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field, and I'll meet you there. So that's a lovely vision, isn't it? It's such a nice vision to think, beyond these differences, let's meet in the middle. So, yeah, so that's beautiful. Another one of my favorites is, "You must love in such a way that the other person feels free." So if you've ever been in any kinds of toxic relationships, you'll understand this a little better. Or if you've ever been in a relationship that was controlling, or where you felt stifled or held down, where you couldn't be yourself, or you didn't even feel free to grow into yourself or grow and evolve within your own self. So to me, that's what that's about. It's the opposite of that, of course, right? So you must love in such a way that the other person feels free. Feel free. They are not walking on eggshells. They're not talking with eggshells. They're not at all stifled. They can grow and evolve within the relationship, and independent of the relationship as well. So important, so important. And that's by Thich Nhat Hanh. And I did another video on relationships and what I've learned through my toxic relationships. So I'll put that link in the description below if you're interested in any of that. So another one of my favorite quotes is, "If the only prayer you ever said in your entire life was thank you, that will be enough." So I am not a particularly religious person. I'm certainly not an atheist. I might consider myself spiritual. I'm not sure really. You'll hear a lot of people say I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. So I fall more on that side of things, really. This one is all about gratitude, and that being your prayer, that being more than praying when somebody needs something, rather than hoping and praying and wishing for healing or, peace or anything like that. If the only prayer you've ever said in your entire life was thank you, that will have been enough. That will be enough. And that's by Meister Eckhart. And I had to break for the pets for a minute, so I'm not sure exactly where I was. But yeah, that one is about gratitude. And it's about not always praying for something that you need, but praying in gratitude for what already is. So that to me, I don't know, that speaks volumes. I love that one. So two more that I'm going to give you here. And I have two books that I've written, and I have put these quotes in the books. So my first book is a memoir, And I did a video from breakdown to breakthrough, which kind of explains my life experience through, just what the title says, through a breakdown and then a breakthrough and healing from that. Quote is from Anais Nin in that first book. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. And that just really says it all. Very poetically and romantically, right? But that says it all for sure. So sometimes you can feel so stuck, like tight in a like think of a rosebud that's closed real tight, or even, something bigger like a peony. It has so many little petals and it's just so poofy, more so than a rose. But when it's tight in that ball there, you would never know if you didn't know what kind of flower it was, what was to come out of it. So that really kind of explains it. And that's a portion of a larger quote, and I think that's part of a book maybe. Um, but that part right there, the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. So to me, that is talking all about, taking that leap of faith, taking that risk, what feels like a risk, to blossom, to come out of that tight space that if I stay in this bud, I will never grow, I will never blossom. So, although it's safe here, or this is what I know, it feels like a risk to blossom. But to always stay there and not blossom is even more of a risk. So I hope I explained that correctly. But that's how it feels. That's how it felt for my life. And that's why it's in my first book. So the other one, I have a second book that's about my nursing career and why I left. And in that book, I have the quote that is by Elizabeth Gilbert. And again, I think this is part of a longer quote or a part of a book, but it says, I wanted to be Florence Nightingale. I wanted to be the best caregiver in the world. Your job was never to be the best caregiver. Your job was to find mercy for yourself. So to me, oh my goodness, self-care is so important, especially in these fields where burnout is so prevalent, like nursing. And, Florence Nightingale is somebody to look up to as a nurse, right? And the times are very different than they were then, as far as in healthcare and, the job of a nurse. So, or even a caregiver, right? A caregiver or, a nurse's aide or a nurse, any type of caregiver job, in healthcare, especially. So, you go into it because you want to help people. You want to be the best that you can be and assist people on their healing journeys, right? But once you get in it, you have to have some mercy for yourself because you will just burn out. So that's kind of what it means to me. And I hope that I have explained these well. What are your favorite quotes? What do these quotes mean to you? Do they mean something different than how I described them? And yeah, so thank you for listening. This has been fun, even though I'm not at home. And I'm going to be here for quite a while. So the next one I do that is not with a guest, um, probably will be here as well. But yeah, thanks for listening. And if you listen to the end and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you so much, as always, for sharing in this time and this space with me.